we will just get started. Victor, congratulations, first off. Top 5.
Thank you.
How does
Thank
that
you so
feel?
much. It's incredible. It's crazy actually to actually still be here, to be the last one standing on Team Legend. It's just full circle moment. So it's incredible.
Yeah, like I told you on Monday, you guys' trio, I'm still like mesmerized by the trio because it's like, of course, when you all are singing individually, you still remember that it's a competition. But when that trio hit, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want this to stop. Now let's take it back to the very beginning. You grew up in church. So a lot of your musical roots come from church. Similar to me, I grew up born and raised in church, couldn't listen to secular music. Grandmother was a part of the usher board, all of that. So how has it been transitioning to The Voice and bringing that gospel music to The Voice?
It's been a smooth process because I remember, where I came from. I remember what I was taught. And I remember prior to me coming onto the show, I prayed to God and I talked to God about, what we would do while we're here, because, this is not just me, it's God as well. And it's really all God. So I talked to God and I remember what he told me is that if I keep him close and, he would stay close to me, he would be with me through every step of the competition. And he also told me if I keep him first, everything will fall in line. So as long as I remember that and I keep that in my mind, then that's how I'm able to, stay on track and be grounded in who I am as an artist on this show.
Absolutely. And a lot of times I was rewatching a lot of your performances last night, and it's just that chord or that modulation that you hear that's like, that's church. I hear that. I definitely hear that. And only, those born and raised in the church can hear that. And of course, you have Nick and you have John, who both, have roots in the church as kids as well. Now, going into the competition, you did something that was pretty tough. You sang one of John's Oscar award-winning songs and got a chair turn, and him saying, that he never turns for people who sing his song. What was that like for you?
That was an incredible moment. That whole 20 minutes of me being on that stage and singing and talking to them, it was a once in a lifetime opportunity, and it was really like one of the most memorable things on the show. And for him to turn around for me, and not only that, but for us to sing together at my blind audition. But like the first time I see John Legend is he's turning around and he's loving what I did with his song, and then he wants to sing with me. Whoa, what? That's incredible.
Now, Blake also turned. Blake was the first person to turn. Did he or Nick have any chance at all?
No, they didn't. They didn't. I'll be honest, they didn't. But I will say, truly, a couple of nights before, I was thinking about him, like, okay, there could be a strategy. One of the other contestants, who didn't think about joining either John or Blake's team, kind of put me on to game a little bit with competition. And they kind of said that if you join Blake's team, then or if you join Blake's team, there wouldn't be really anybody else on that team to like in your lane, basically. And I said, that's actually kind of true. So the thought did cross my mind to choose Blake because of that reason. And then while I was up there on stage, they didn't really show a lot of what Nick actually said, but some of the things that he was really saying to me really was like, yo, like if John wasn't here, I might have chose, I probably would have chose him,
Right.
And but John was there. I'm like, I'm not passing this opportunity. It's not gonna happen. So I went with him, and I'm glad I did. He's taught me so much, and he has given me free range to be who I am as an artist. So it's been a great experience.
Now, in choosing John, did you intentionally do this season? Because we know that the judges constantly change, of course.
Right.
That's not the exception of Blake, but the judges are constantly rotated, and we've seen John not be in a chair. So had it been a season where John wasn't a coach, would you still have gone out and did your blinds?
I wouldn't have been more excited to do it. Yeah, because I remember, I think before him, it was Alicia Keys, I think. Alicia Keys, she's a great artist as well. And all of them are great artists. And, you know, it would be incredible to work with anybody that's a celebrity and, you know, and world renowned, but something different about John Legend. And actually I think there was almost a scare because, you know, they announced that his wife had a miscarriage.
Yeah.
And we were thinking, and his grandmother had just passed as well. Mm-hmm. We were like, okay, man, is he gonna stay for the season? And I got a little worried. I'm like, and then he was still there, and I was like, okay, he pushed through. Like, God bless, and not just for me, but I'm glad he was able to come back in a good mindset as well, because that's tough. That's tough to handle. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, what have you learned through this experience from the different coaches? I mean, you have John, but then there's also, you know, your team that you're working with, despite, you know, going against each other. But then you also had people like Snoop Dogg and you had Brandy. So what has it been like to just really be embraced and just in the middle of all of this?
Yeah, it's been incredible. Like it's been crazy. And I really learned that I can really trust myself, trust my first instinct, and trust my musical mind. I can do that because, and then I will always, you know, I've learned to always look for, you know, room for growth. You know, you can never be too good. Like I listen to John, and you may hear John in the studio and it's perfect, but when you hear John in rehearsal, it's perfect. It's clean. It's crisp. I'm like, yo, what? Like, what is going on? Like, this man is a robot right now because his vocals are just too clean, and he wasn't missing at all. And I'm like, okay, all right. I can still work on some things, you know. So that's how it was, and it's been a great experience. It's been a great experience, and like I'm super excited to bring it to the end.
Absolutely. Now, John, as we know, again, grew up in church, but he still has those secular roots. So with you coming onto the show, knowing that it is primarily secular based, we know how old school church people can be like, I don't do it. So how has the support been from the church as well as from your family?
You know, actually, that was something that I was really, really, you know, interested to see. Because my first song, everybody loved it. It's not specifically gospel, but it sounds like gospel, and it's an inspirational. It's a spiritual. So they loved it off rip, and I'm like, okay. Next week, next episode, I'm singing Usher. You know, R&B, like totally different.
With the moves.
So, totally different, right? So the support was the same. And I really do appreciate that. My mom was telling me the mothers of the church were calling her and telling her, you know, how proud of me they are. And, you know, even my like first ladies and people like that and pastors and things like that on Facebook still showing love, still showing support. And that's what I appreciated most.
Absolutely. Now, going into the top 5, you guys get to perform singles, right?
We don't, not our original music, not this season.
I was gonna say, now, if you did have the chance, do you think that you would go secular? Do you think that you would go gospel? Do you think you would fuse the two?
I would still do gospel. I would still do gospel, definitely. I'm going to be a gospel artist after the show, and I don't want to like confuse people. So I would still do gospel. But obviously this season we are doing something great as well. In the finale, we'll be singing 2 songs, an upbeat tempo and a ballad each. And Tuesday we get to do a duet with our coach, so I'm excited for that.
Oh, that'll be your second duet now with John. Not many people say that they have 2 duets with John, and one was his original song after he turned for his original song.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Now, many would also ask, of course, because, you know, people love to talk in the church and people love to just, you know, ask questions. But many might ask, why The Voice as opposed to a gospel competition show?
You know, and I've got that question. My mom was like, why you need to just do Sunday's Best? I'm like, okay, let's talk about it. So Sunday's Best, I started to, I think it was season 9. I was in the process of auditioning for that show. And I wasn't in the right space to submit a video. And I kept trying, and I'm like, this isn't good. Like, it's not good enough. And I was basically limited to what I could do in that time because I wasn't at home. I was actually away on a trip so I couldn't do a lot, and I didn't like the setting in my background. So all of this stuff, I was just real picky about it. I didn't want to send anything trash to nobody. So I was picky about that, and I thought about it. I said, you know, the voice has more exposure, and you can reach more souls, and the message doesn't change with me. So why not just go on a bigger platform and do the same thing? So that's really what it was. Obviously, I wasn't singing gospel every competition,
right?
But on Sunday's Best, they'll take a secular song and make it gospel. So it's like it's kind of the same process. So it's not. It wasn't really that hard for me to choose.
Yeah, and I was gonna say echo that. Like when you're on The Voice, it's not just The Voice, it's NBC as a whole, it's NBC Universal as a whole. So many eyes are on The Voice that many people on watching NBC don't know what Sunday's Best is. So to be able to really like watch you just pretty much usher in the spirit, literally, like, you know, it resonates more. Because it's like you see these people who don't know what you're singing about, and they're just they're feeling it. So it's just that one, like the spirit can jump off of me and jump onto somebody else. So that's literally through every song what you continue to do. Now,
thank you.
After The Voice, do you hope to continue to work with John?
I do. I really, really do. Like I would really love that mentor to mentee relationship. In my wildest dreams, I would just love to be an artist, kind of like how, Chloe and Halle are to Beyonce. I would like to be that to John, I think that would be pretty dope. And I just feel like we could do it. Like it's possible, so.
Yeah, you guys sound very, very similar. When you guys are singing your duet, like closing my eyes, I was like, okay, who's singing? Hold on. Whose voice is this? Right. Now, before we wrap it up, I want to know who were just some of your any genre, who are some of your icons musically that you looked up to growing up and then even up till now?
So obviously besides John Legend, it would be Kim Burrell in the gospel, the Clark sisters, Todd Tribbett, Jay Moss, Ricky Dillard, and more to the secular music. I also like Chris Brown. I like Beyonce. She's a legend. And who else do I like listening to? I love Ari Lennox. I love Brandy. Just love some good R&B music, and I've been put on to Giveon as well too. So he's pretty dope.
Yeah, those are some major names, especially in the gospel realm. Not many people know the Jay Moss, the Ty, like people know the Kurt Franklin, but those are some pretty big names. Well, Victor, thank you so much for spending this time with me. I wish you nothing but the best. I'll be watching, rooting for you, voting for you. So thank you again so much. And I can't wait to see what happens following The Voice, and I'll be following your career through it all. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. It was nice. Thank you for having me.
No problem.